Hello and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament Weekly Broadcast. This is Nightcat and I'll be your host today. For our first game, we have a game pulled from the replays channel on the Discord for SSCAIT. We have KSOBot going up against Sejiasu, also known as Overkill, down at the bottom of Destination. So this one was posted as and advertised as having a worker bug for Queso that ends up being a little bit of an unintended feature, so I'm excited to see how this plays out. Now we do have the scout from KSOBot going down. Gonna see normal, I think it was probably a 9-hatch, or actually might have been a worker extractor trick hatch either before or after, but now we do have the Zerglings popping up, and the scout, after having 100% confirmed the location of the enemy, gonna go ahead and head back. The Zerglings are gonna pop, and we do have a interesting use of minerals, a spore colony immediately. Typically you would want to leave your creep colony as a creep colony until the absolute last moment that you need to make it, but now we do have the Zerglings running up here, gonna come up the ramp. We've got the two Marines here, and the Marines able to push back the Zerglings just a little bit here, thanks to the SCVs sitting in front, and the Zerglings did seem to kind of target the SCVs a little bit. So this might be maybe what KSOBot was talking about here, because those SCVs seem to just kind of be chilling, idling there. I don't know if that is intentional or not with their placement. Yeah, it definitely does not look intentional. One of them is going to go ahead and go back. Meanwhile, behind this, we do have a macro hatch going down. Overkill staying on one base, it looks like, going ahead and getting a second macro hatch. So this is looking like a possible Ling all-in build here, although floating a lot of minerals. But it's hard to spend that on one base as Zerg until you get those macro hatches up. And now we do have a second supply depot going down from Queso and a large mineral count. So I'm willing to bet that the SCVs that were hanging out here were causing some problems with trying to build this second supply depot, and then KSOBot just kind of fell behind in its plan. It was waiting for that supply depot to get built before actually moving on with its macro plan. Now it does seem to be idling SCVs a fair bit here, which probably is what was happening over here. So it'll be interesting to see if Overkill is able to take advantage of these little issues, but it seems to be struggling with this wall here. Losing some Zerglings here and there that wander a little too close to the Marines while trying to poke in. Some nice repair there. Meanwhile, another third barracks is going down. There is a spire constructing for the Zerg. The Zerg has also taken its natural, so transitioning out of pumping Zerglings. We do have 5 hatcheries total, well, a lair and 4 hatcheries technically. So plenty of production is possible, but the Zerglings kind of just getting massacred there. And just out of curiosity, I wonder, 14 kills, 14 seems to be maybe the highest kill count. Now we are starting to get medics and fire bats, so preparing to perhaps move out with a bio force here. And as we hear, the Marines have their favorite supplement of stim packs available to them now. Unless that was, well, I mean, they would still have it, but that could have been fire bats using it. But unfortunately, the game in Remaster desynced, and it actually desynced due to this unit stacking that happened there, because as you can see, a fire bat ends up glitching through. When I watched this in Remastered, a couple of Marines glitched through instead of the fire bats, which caused the game to then desync. So we will pick it up from here with the units kind of stacking up here, and then the barracks lifts and the gates open. The Marines and the fire bats and medics are able to come out to the natural here, sacrificing some medics to the Zerglings, but in the end able to save some of them, as the Zerglings kind of wandered close and then ran away. Now we do have a Hydralisk army coming up here. for Overkill, going to be able to take a large number of these Marines out. Hydralisks, depending on the upgrades, can be pretty effective against Marines. It also depends on how many Marines and Marine medics there are. Tank just kind of getting itself out of position and getting picked off there. Meanwhile, we do have a good Hydralisk production going on for Overkill, who does have a number of hatcheries back at home. But Queso able to work his way across the bridge from his natural and slowly working towards the Zerg's natural. Zerg only on 2 bases. Quesobot going up to 2 bases as well. And now we have this cool little dance happening here due to the orders being issued. Possibly going to be able to pick some units off with the Hydralisks here. But the Terran army should be able to stand its ground here, at least for a little bit longer, until these backup come. And then it's nothing but medics left. Now, the production queue for Zerg is able to get pretty out of hand, given that's an interesting hatchery placement, along with those as well. I'm guessing those are actually more intended to be macro hatcheries as opposed to expansion hatcheries, just based on their placement. A lot of back and forth going on here between the 2 bots. The Terran does have a starport getting that control tower rather. Back. A lot of overlords just kind of chilling in the middle of the map here. And now the natural having a Hydralisk infestation. If I could speak English properly today. But the tank count, without anything to really absorb the hits from the Hydralisks, taking a lot of damage, going down very quickly. A lot of Hydralisks getting held up back here thanks to the blocking naturals. That's not something that you want to see happen. Overlords just going... slow Overlords going over the Marines, getting eaten. This game has just devolved into quite the mess. There's also a lot of drones down here in the main, not transferring to the natural. I'm not sure if Overkill is going to actually get a third. There's some drones here. Not sure if maybe this was supposed to be a third and something has just gone awry, or why they are there. There's also a scouting SCV, it looks like, but now Overkill just not getting the mineral gathering that it needs in order to support building the army that it wants. It also seems to be supply blocked at the moment, with a large amount of its supply in drones that are just sitting idle, allowing Quesobot to come in and clean up. Gonna move into the natural here, which is the only mining base for the Zerg currently, and now as the drones get slaughtered, it sends the rest of the drones in to get slaughtered. And now it's just for Quesobot to clean up. So very interesting game where both bots had interesting difficulties in executing their game plans, and in the end Quesobot just able to overcome those issues that it was having to take the W. We do have battle cruisers now out, as well as wraiths being produced. Another comsat station, actually probably rebuilding the comsat station that was lost in the natural. Unable to find this one hatchery that is off-placed. Although I thought it may have seen it with the scouting SCV, perhaps it did not. So we'll go ahead and speed this up, as there is a timeout if a certain amount of time goes by before or without a unit being killed. Oh, okay, there is a Marine that has found the hatchery, so gonna go ahead and take it down. But as I was saying, SSCAIT, as well as Basil, which I think is actually where this game was played, does have a timeout where if something is not killed within a certain amount of time, the game will end with the unit, or sorry, with the player with the higher score taking the victory. I think the score also excludes the mineral section of the score. I think it's like kill and raise score and something else, but I don't remember off my head. But with that, Queso takes the win, and we'll head into game 2 for today. For the rest of the games today, we are choosing our games a little bit differently than we have in the past. They will be randomly selected games. However, On the website for the Student StarCraft AI tournament, if you go to the bots and results section, there is now a new portion of that down at the bottom of the page. You can see a little picture of what it looks like here. It actually selects a number of random games that have been recently played. I think within the past so many days, I forget off the top of my head how many it is. And it also shows you the ELO difference between the two opponents. So I will be using this going forward, at least for now, to see how it does with selecting games. And out of the set that it gives me, I'm going to grab whatever has the lowest ELO difference so we can have opponents that are closely skilled. Now for this game, we do have Andrei Kurdiumov, which is a random bot and has spawned as the Teal Zerg here on Icarus, going up against Soren Klett, the brown Terran down here at the bottom, and this is looking like it's going to be a very quick game. So we'll slow this down just a moment here. We did get a bunker started, but it's actually at the natural. And the worker defense response by Soren has been to pull every single SCV to try and defend. Now this bunker is getting targeted down, did get destroyed, but the Zerglings are now going to go ahead, and maybe I thought they were going to back off. They thought they had a chance at the Marine. They actually do have a chance at the Marine now that he has been separated from his workers, but there is a second Marine back here, which is now again separated from the workers and virtually defenseless. So able to pick off those two Marines, good job. A bit of an overpull on the workers by Soren. Would have preferred to see a healthy number of workers get pulled for this type of Zergling pressure. However, you don't want to pull everybody because then you have nobody gathering minerals. You're not going to be able to continue your plan, even though your speed at which you would execute that plan would be stunted due to cut in your economy with any number of workers that you pull. However, we do have more Zerglings coming down now. I believe with the low worker count that this was a 4 or 5 pull. I was talking before, I did not exactly notice how many workers the spawning pool was started at, and there was an early scout as well. Icarus is a 4-player map. If you're going to do something like a 4 or a 5 pull against your opponent, it is very important that you know where they are, so you have to do that early scout. Thankfully for Andre, being random, Soren doesn't know what race the opponent is, so that's going to give you an advantage with doing some type of early rush if you're Zerg. In addition to that, they ended up getting a shorter distance between the two with the spawn locations. Had Soren been on the left, would have been a longer rush distance and would have had more time to get some more, or maybe perhaps get that bunker up. Now, Andre able to clean up the rest of the SCVs, and just going to go ahead and clean Soren's base here to take the win. So go ahead and watch this out and then get ourselves into the next game for the day. And so we have Willie T up against Microwave on Tau Cross, which I believe is a 4-player map. I am blanking at the moment. It might actually be a 3-player map, and it is an ice map. Tau Cross does have some interesting features on it where Terran can actually kind of abuse the natural. There's like this high ground that is at, I believe, all of the naturals where you can just go ahead and drop tanks and make it not a fun day for your opponent. We have what looks like to be a 9 pull and then a 9 gas going down for Microwave, while Willie T is scouting, going ahead and getting the barracks, and then we'll probably get a supply. Yep, already got it, supply depot. So on supply depot, barracks, and I'm wondering if it will get another racks or if it will go gas. It instead goes for a fast expand, which is not going to be good. There are 4 Zerglings here trying to get a bunker, quickly being shut down. Marine having to run away here, not able to take the Zerglings, although one got separated from the pack, took some damage, and the rest decide to back out. Even though they could be causing some problems here, they could stop this from being built. It does get built, however, and now it's going to be repaired. However, there's no Marine to populate it. They might be able to still take it down. Nope, enough SCVs do get on it so that it is able to be repaired in time, and the Lings are sacrificed trying to take it down. So Willie T able to get this natural up, even though It appeared as though he should not, but he was able to do so. Looks like we're having back at Microwave's main. While that was going on, he managed to get a lair and a Hydralisk then and is researching lurkers. So it looks like we've got a one hatch lurker play going on here. Willie T is fully aware of it. However, most bots do not react to the scouting information that they have. And we do have an engineering bay going down though. So if we see, yep, it looks like a forward turret, which is one of the things that you want against lurkers as Terran. When they're going to be coming at your natural, you want to try and keep them from being able to plant in there as much as possible. So it'll be interesting to see how this engagement plays out for the two. As the lurkers, they're just going to kind of conga line in here. No Marines in the bunker, which is not good. Running the Marines away from the bunker is not going to help you. This looks like it's going to go for Microwave very handily. Microwave seemingly able to tell that yes, that bunker is empty, still going for it because you do want to take it down so that it can't be filled, but was happy to just walk these lurkers into this section here without taking any shots. Had the bunker been filled, Microwave may have backed off a little bit more instead of running in as boldly as it did with its line of lurkers instead of a pack of lurkers. So this attack was much more effective than it should have been due to misexecution by Willie T. And now it is just up to these 4 lurkers to clear out Willie T's base. Meanwhile, back at Microwave's base, we did take our natural, and we're going ahead and getting a macro hatch as well. The Scout SCV is having fun doing a large donut around the base. But slowly, these 4 lurkers will take everything down. Microwave is floating a lot of minerals and gas. Also getting, looks like some defensive creep colonies and additional macro hatches. Creep colony, it became a sunken, probably to defend against vulture harass, although not needed in this case. Going to go ahead and take the W. And for our next game, we have Dashin, the brown Protoss at the bottom right of Circuit Breakers here, going up against Purple Destiny, the... Whoops, forget the shortcut for the map. That's right, it is Q. Going up against Purple Destiny, the random bot that has spawned as the Teal Zerg, down at the bottom left of the map. So this is going to be interesting. I have to juggle turning off the minimap and turning off the overlay so we can see what's going on. Now we do have a gateway coming down for Machine. Does not know the race of his opponent just yet, but he's going to see it here that it is Zerg, so he can make his plan accordingly. He steals the gas with an assimilator, but I don't think that's going to matter much because this is looking like a 4 pool. Or actually a 5 pool because of the scouting drone, but he has not found the location of his base yet, and Dashin knows that what is up here. Knows that Zerglings are on the loose, but is still getting a cybernetics score, so not reacting to the information that it has gained, and it's going to go ahead and get discovered here. Purple Destiny making the assumption that, well, you weren't at the top left, so I'm assuming you're going to be at the bottom right, and going to go ahead and rush in here. Nice extractor trick by Purple Destiny to get squeeze out a few more extra drones. Or sorry, Zerglings rather, and then just going to chew through most of the probes here. What you really would have wanted to see is, although a Dragoon is going to go ahead and pop out, so there is a chance for Dashin to actually pull this around. Manages to get the last of the Zerglings there, as long as it doesn't lose this Dragoon and is able to stabilize it. Don't like that the Dragoon is marching out. You'd probably would have rather had it sit at home. Not doing a very good job of kiting these Zerglings. Getting some damage, but taking a lot of damage. You really need to drag this out so you can get some money and maybe get another unit out, but now the drone has cornered itself and falls. And Dashin is right back into a bad situation here. Now Zergling's able to just come and eat the drones. And now going to eat the buildings, and Dashin is just going to go ahead and tap out. Now, unfortunately, would have rather seen a transition here. Instead of going for the Dragoons with Cybernetics Core, if it just started to pump Zealots and maybe get a second gateway, could have probably survived this, especially since Purple Destiny wasn't aware of where you were located right away, but unfortunately that is how the cookie crumbles in this case. And we seem to have a theme forming for today, for we have Velociraptor at the bottom of Destination, going up against Legacy at the top of Destination, and both of these bots are random bots. So Legacy has spawned as the green Protoss, while Velocirandom is the purple Zerg down here. So, like I said, we seem to have a theme going. There's been a lot of random bots being selected, and random versus random is interesting. And what is nice to see is that in this case, Velocirandom is not going for a 4 pull, though it has, or 4 or 5 pull, though it has spawned the Zerg, which is what we've seen from the other 2 random bots that ended up as Zerg in their games. So it's going for a 12 hatch, or 10 hatch, or 9 hatch, I believe that was. 9 hatch, that had to have been because the second Overlord just finished now. Meanwhile, Legacy is going for a 1 gateway play, getting its Cybernetics Core, got its 3 gas gatherers, so going to be pumping out Dragoons once that core finishes. And I noticed that, excuse me, did not, pardon me, did not even get a single Zealot yet, so was a bit susceptible to rushes there. However, it ended up lucking out that Velocirandom did not want to go for a rush at all. Now, did get the spawning pool and is now getting a Hydralisk Den, so it looks like we're going to see some type of Hydralisk play. Has the Overlord over top of the Nexus, so now both players are aware of each other's races. Now we've got, looks like a second gateway coming under construction along with a 3rd pylon. Dragoon going to go ahead and take out that Scouting Overlord, temporarily supply blocking Velocirandom, but gonna go ahead and replace that Overlord. Could have maybe built an extra one in anticipation of losing that Overlord. Gonna chase the Dragoon back for the moment, but now the 2 Dragoons have joined forces are going to chase back the Hydralisk until the Hydralisk join forces, which are then going to chase back the Dragoons until 4 Dragoons pop and they join forces, and then they can scare off the Hydralisks. Also getting a bit of a high ground advantage there, picking off a few numbers, while only taking shield damage. Gonna go ahead and push these Hydralisks back behind the lines here. Velocirandom just pumping Hydralisks right now, not able to really get economy, having to be able to push back these Dragoons. But Legacy is going up, actually getting a Stargate now. I went 3 gateways on one base and then a Stargate, which to me is a little unusual to see. With this level of Dragoon getting a little bit lost there and getting picked off, running into the middle of the pack of Hydralisks. I would have expected maybe to see a 4th gateway with the aggression that we are seeing, but going for a fleet beacon. So Legacy is actually going to go for 1 base carriers here, with Dragoons holding the enemy back until it's able to get them. But the Dragoon count very quickly melting to the very nice arc that formed there for Velocirandom, able to push them again back, but getting that high ground advantage, and also getting the defender's advantage, able to push the Hydralisks back into the natural, but losing a couple of Dragoons that were down at the bottom of the ramp. Should have pulled them back. If the Legacy, instead of trying to push forward, would just sit back and enjoy this ramp and be able to hold these Hydralisks off for a very long time and actually a decent number of Dragoons. But trying to push, getting across the bridge again, pushing the Hydralisks back. Meanwhile, back home, Velocirandom pumping nothing but Hydralisks at the moment, not even getting a lair. Very short on gas because it's not established the second geyser yet. If it could get a break from unit production, it could take that second gas and then actually increase its production, because it does have a glut of minerals here, but I'm not sure if it's actually short on larva. It looks like it is using every single larva to produce Hydralisks, and just kind of, oh no, that was a misstep there by Legacy, losing 2 Dragoons for nothing. They were just moving, not even firing. But then Velocirandom going ahead and saying, you know what, I feel bad for you, here, have some Hydralisks, and just tossing them to the death. Now this carrier coming out without even a constructed interceptor right out into the fray and exposing itself, but now it is completing its interceptors. So it is able to actually fight and hovering over the Dragoons. Very nice to see. That Overlord's going to bite it, and then going to go ahead and push into the natural here of Lost Random. Doesn't look like it really has the forces to deal with this. Could have formed a concave to maybe try and pick some off as the Dragoons try to cross the bridges. Not using the terrain to its advantage, unfortunately. Now it is going to get a lair, which is a very odd time to get a lair in your natural when your opponent is firing at everything that you have in the natural. Canceling it, though, which is interesting to see when it gets down to a certain amount of hit points. My guess is that there's probably just code that if something is morphing, whether it is a new building or an old building morphing into a new one, when it hits a certain low HP threshold, to just cancel if it's under attack. Natural being cleaned up by Legacy at this point. No expansion yet for Legacy. A second carrier is about to finish, it looks like. But it seems in this instance that it will not be needed, as Legacy will now move into the main and go ahead and clean up. There were a couple of Zerglings, the first we've seen for the match, but they are not enough to stop this Protoss army, especially since the Zerglings cannot attack upwards with their weird claw arms that they have. And now second carrier joining in the mix and going to can help with the cleanup of the Zerg base here, and Legacy will take the win. And for our next game, we have two bots that are always a pleasure to watch. We have Mad Mix Z spawning as the green Zerg in the top right of Benzene, going up against Insanity Bot, the yellow Terran, down at the bottom left. So in this instance, we have two bots that are not random. So they know each other's races, so less like, well, even then, you're still likely to see some shenanigans going on the ladder. So it looks like we will have a 9 pull from Mad Mix Z. And we have a supply depot all the way down at the bottom here of the map, followed by a barracks for Insanity Bot. So no proxy plays. Interesting choice to get a couple of sport or creep colonies. I went through every name possible. Sunken, Spore, and Creep Colony there. So they're going to go ahead and get a Sunken Colony very early, as well as getting 2 Raxes here, which is something you would expect to see. So could see a 2 Rax fast expand, although, and got a building and then canceled it. Don't know what building that was before it died. So gonna go ahead and pull the Marine back that was scouting, go ahead and take out that scouting Overlord. Looks like Mad Mix Z will be supply blocked very briefly for that. Maybe? Oh, okay, no, it must not have. I must have looked up at the supply shortly after the Overlord died. So we do have some Zerglings going out. We have an expansion coming down for Mad Mix Z. Gonna go ahead and try and take its natural. Zerglings are gonna just kind of sit a little off to the side. Might miss Marines passing by if they were to do so. But the Marines are gonna chill by the command center, just kind of in small groups here, defending it. You'd probably like to see them by the ramp. I'm not sure why that SCV is just sitting there. I'm hoping that's not a case of the game desyncing on us here. Now we do have a 3rd barracks under construction, as well as another supply depot. We've got some Overlords being positioned for scouting, or actually no, that was a drone going ahead and plopping down a 3rd hatchery, adding mineral only. And the Zerglings cautiously advancing in their scouting to see what is going on. Sanity Bot, I don't think we have a desync because he is spending his minerals and gas, and all the new units are pretty much moving. It is just the one SCV that was acting rather strangely. Now the Zerglings come in, they find that SCV, they kill it, and then they back off because they do see that there are superior numbers here for the Terran. Gonna go ahead and run unnecessarily all the way back to their natural. Going ahead and getting some creep colonies just in case, but this Overlord that is lagging behind in the retreat, you can clearly see that there is no Terran coming, so overreacting a little bit here by the Zerg, but sometimes it's better to just have that reaction, even if it's an overreaction, than to have no reaction at all, because it will save you in the worst case scenarios, or if you die, it'll at least make you look less bad in the worst case scenario. So the Terran is going ahead and scouting with a lone Marine and medic. So I guess they're technically not alone, but it's just the two of them. Going ahead and checking out the middle of the map and then backing away from the Zerg's location. Gonna go ahead and scout, it looks like not even checking the expansion, just kind of getting close towards where there is one. Though Mad McC is doing some scouting just to make sure there's nothing weird going on, while InsanityBot is going ahead and taking its natural. Large number of Zerglings. Oh, okay. I was like, I hear them attacking something. They're attacking those power generators there. Gonna go ahead and sit in the middle. Marine is gonna go ahead and use his stim pack, and he does have the medic to heal him should he need it. There are a few Marines out here which could be taken out by the Zerglings, but we do have an engagement going on here at the bridge. Looks like the Terran is falling back, but should be able to take care of this with the force that's there, though there are no medics with the actual army. Just the one that was with this group of Marines. And that's a lot of bio to have to heal for one medic. Now I wonder if this is going to act kind of like a flank here, or a counterattack. The Zerglings are off to a position that the Terran does not know. Going ahead and hitting this third, morphing. This is the second time we've seen this. A lair at the base that is getting attacked, which is not what you want to see. But the Lings do act as a counter, causing the Insanity Bot to try to pull back and cutting it off. The tank not really doing what it should be doing. But the tank does manage to survive, force the Lings back. The Marines and the Firebats, though, were fighting against the Zerglings, but still overwhelming numbers for the Zergs are pumping out units, as well as some economy. Marines trying to be made. Should be able to hold the natural here, though. Able to fight back the Zergs. Now we are seeing some Hydralisks starting to get into the mix. We have a dropship, which seems to just be gathering some random units, so not sure exactly where this dropship is planning on going. I'll try to keep an eye on it. I'm probably going to drop at an expansion. Looks like, yep, it is going along the bottom. Meanwhile, we have this fight here, again being pushed back from the bridge into the natural, and the Terran able to fight them back. It looks like the Terran flying past the one base, so Mad McC is aware of that dropship going all the way to the main, it looks like. Meanwhile, Insanity Bot is attempting to engage, but just kind of has a weird long line of units running back into the natural due to the numbers. Dropped off the Marines, but they were taken care of by the Sunken. Tanks and Marines able to take out the Zerglings, pushing the Zerg back once again. But the army is slowly becoming more Hydralisk heavy. Hydralisks can be good against M&Ms, however, not going to do so well against the tanks. Insanity Bot did manage to take its third and is transferring the SCVs, and I don't think Mad McC is aware of that third yet. Getting a starport here, which actually the positioning may seem odd, but could help, as it is going to create a bit more of a choke point there for it, that the Zerg would have to be funneled into, where tanks are going to be able to do some heavy damage. However, Terran player Insanity Bot is not able to get across these bridges for very long. Keeps getting chased back into the natural, but that tighter choke is definitely helping it out. Gonna go ahead and push the Zerg out of the natural once again. Zerg, meanwhile, has taken a fourth, is taking a fifth, though these couple of Firebats are trying to burn it down, but gonna go ahead and get swarmed by the Zerg, who moves his entire army to take care of just a couple of units, allowing 3 Wraiths and a tank and a medic to get out. Medic using blind, which is something you don't see very often in bot play, but has the potential to be powerful, especially if those Wraiths have cloak. Getting the restoration ability, again using this choke that's been accidentally created by the starport to its advantage, pushing the Zerg out of its natural, going ahead and taking a fourth. It seems that Insanity Bot does not like to take mineral only bases. However, not really able to take one right now because of where the fighting is constantly happening. That SCV I thought was maybe going to take the mineral only at this point, but does not look like it. Now we do have Mutalisks out for the Zerg. We've got upgrades going on for the Zerg as well. Let's see if we can get check on the upgrades here. So the Terran, excuse me, is 1-1 on the upgrades. For its bio army, if I can get one Wraith, no air upgrades at the moment, and the tank no vehicle upgrades. Not sure if it has an armory or not. This attempt at a fourth base by the Terran was found by Mad McZ. Mad McZ taking it down. Does have just one on the armor, and if I can get a Hydralisk, does have an upgrade on the Hydralisk attack. Gonna go ahead and chase the army back into the natural. I think I saw a Mutalisk go in the excuse me. Once again, sacrifice itself to the Terran army. Trying to grab a quick drink here to help with a little bit of coughing that I'm having going on. Just a lot happening in the game. We have Queens out now, which actually may be a good thing then for the restoration for the medics, which is another thing that you don't see bots getting very often. The Mutalisks, I'm trying to see their upgrades, are at 0-0 right now. We're also getting plus medic energy, which is a good upgrade to see. We're seeing Ensnare. Now we're seeing flyer upgrades as well as another attack upgrade for the Hydralisk. Go ahead and hide the unit portraits for now. It's looking like Zerg's game. He's taken out the Terran's third now. Terran not able to get its forces out of the natural into that because the Zerg army with their approach coming into this mineral only and then sending some units up was able to hold the Terran army back. Might have enough, but oh man, that wall from that starport, it's taking a beating, but it is helping the Terrans so much, but it falls. Units are in the natural now. It is not looking good for the Terran. And with the fall of the natural and no minerals in the main, it's looking like Mad Mix Z has managed to pull this game out. Love the macro hatches here, and we've got Ultralisks now in play. We've got Hive Tech. Very good game between these two bots. Mad Mix Z, love to see, and actually Insanity Bot kind of both have the same kind of playstyle where they try to use pretty much every unit within their arsenal. Very good game, well played by both of them, and let's go ahead and get into the next one. And here we have NLPR Bot on the left as the Red Zerg of Heartbreak Ridge, going up against Red Rum, the Orange Terran, on the right of the map. Heartbreak Ridge is a fun two-player map where their expansions are kind of along the top and bottom edges, along with a middle expansion that typically only gets taken if you're really far ahead because it's so hard to defend. So it looks like we are going to maybe have, let's see if we get a 9-pull. Nope, we got an Overlord, a couple, we've got like a 9 Extractor, kind of. So gas first, and now a spawning pool. So maybe we'll see a quick Speedling type of play coming out of an NLPR bot. And Red Rum is not getting a barracks. Going ahead and fast expanding without a barracks, which is a very brave play, given that it knows it's up against a Zerg. And now we've got a hatchery coming down, or sorry, a lair coming down very quickly, along with a set of 3 Zerglings. And now it looks like we have a barracks also coming down, along with a supply depot for the Terran. And a second barracks now under construction, but the Lings are going to be marching their way. Should be able to cause some havoc for the natural. And without a Marine under construction, or there we go. Should definitely be, oh, but the command center does finish in time though, so not going to be able to actually do much damage to expansion. The Marine, or the SCVs, are going to go ahead and run to the natural, but still going to get some picked off. Marines going to suffer a bit there as well. A lot of worker kills. The Marine trying to kind of stay alive, but not going to get much backup. And it looks like Red Rum is going to pay the price for its greedy play, losing a lot of workers, now being tied with the Zerg. But finally, the Marine numbers are enough to scare off the Zerglings. However, Lurker aspect has finished. We've got 2 Lurkers coming in. We do have a Comsat station that has finished. However, actually, this might be interesting. We've got the Marines coming around the bottom of the map, while the Lurkers are going to go ahead and chew up the natural, but the Marines that were coming around the bottom were taken out by some Zerglings. So what I thought was going to be interesting ended up not happening. I thought we might have ended up in a base race type situation. However, the Lurkers are just going to clean this up now. There was an attempt to get a engineering bay. However, it was not anywhere near enough in time. It seemed to be a reaction to seeing the Lurkers, which were morphed pretty close to the base. And Red Rum goes ahead and taps out. Now, this is something that for a while I don't really remember seeing bots do a whole lot. This one hatch lurker play, and then now it seems to have gained in popularity as it is taking wins. Terran bots just don't really seem all that prepared for it. And for our final match for today, we have Egbert, the red Terran on the bottom left of Andromeda, going up against the yellow Protoss Mad Mix P. So we've got another Mad Mix bot in the top right here. And we had a very quick scout, one of the initial SCVs from Egbert. So I'm thinking maybe we will see some cheese, and a cute little exclamation mark there. The king salutes you, Mad Mix P. A little bit of cheekiness there, but we do have the first gateway going down for Mad Mix P. Meanwhile, Egbert is looking pretty standard here outside of that very quick scout there. Nice gates you got. So recognizing the fact that there's two gates there, so this is a 2-gate build. No scouting yet from Mad Mix P, though, so the Zealots are not going to know where to go yet. So we do have now 2 barracks going down for Egbert here, and the scouting Zealot goes ahead and gets killed up at the top here by a Zealot. So now we've got a couple of pylons being built, one just finished, and now 2 Zealots are done and going off to explore the map along with the probe. Gonna go ahead and try to find where the opponent is. Now we do have a bunker on the high ground at the top of the ramp. Good. With a couple of SCVs, so probably anticipating the rush from the 2 gateways that we had going on here. However, there is no rush coming. There are 4 Zealots, though, at the main, and now with the probe able to find the opponent, the Zealots do not spring into action. Instead, we are now getting a cybernetics core. But there is 1 Zealot that is going to be on the way. Should be pretty easily handled, though. And it's going to take a couple shots, back off, and then come back and try to do a run by, and almost makes it, but gets killed. Even if it had got by, though, there were plenty of Marines to take care of it. But now we've got the rest of the Zealot army coming in. But actually, if the Marines don't move, there's no real chance for run by. And they do move a little bit, but they do enough damage to kill the 1 Zealot that was trying to run by. If they were all going by, though, that could have been pretty disastrous. Now we are taking an expansion instead of at the natural, at the high ground mineral only, and which the bot may be thinking is its natural, since that is the first base that you may encounter when scouting with your worker. We have stim, and we are getting engineering bay, so should be protected from any Dark Templar or cloaked shenanigans once that is done, and a few turrets are up. The Terran, though, is on 1 base for an exceptionally long time here. Not getting any mech yet. There's a large number of Zealots as well, along now with a 1 Dragoon, it looks like, and continuing to pump more Zealots. So it looks like right now we've got a bit of a slow game going on here, but now Egbert is going to go ahead and move out. Looks like, though, with this SCV, okay, getting a turret. I thought maybe going to try and just go ahead and take the natural now. A little bit of exchange, gunfire there, and I guess plasma ball fire from the Dragoon. Nothing really to do, though. We are getting our infantry upgrades, as well as a factory now for the Terran, and also Zealot's leg speed. I don't know why that is there. That was pretty bad to see. Not sure where those Protoss were trying to go, but they were just moving in up against the Terran army and just taking very unnecessary hits and lost the entire army. Meanwhile, trying to take a third, but this is not going to go well as the Terran, after having that huge successful battle, is going to go ahead and counter push, also scanning to make sure that there's no third expansion over there. And going to go ahead and take out some buildings. Now there is a decent amount of cannons here that have been built to try and defend against this, which will be probably somewhat effective against the Marines here, but there is a nice medic corps. Ooh, and the Marines are getting slaughtered, so the cannons doing their job there. But once tanks come into the mix with siege, it's probably not going to be a good day. Getting all of the probes, though, at the mineral only. Probably not going to be able to crack the cannons just yet, but doing damage all the same. Meanwhile, another comsat coming down, a couple more barracks, so getting ready to macro up. The natural has been taken for Egbert, as we can see on the minimap. Probe squeaking by, but then getting picked off. So, gonna take some damage here, but able to fight off the Terran forces in the end. But they're going to go ahead and rebuild, and I think that is a science facility out in the choke of the natural, which is probably not a good position for such a high-tech building. That Marine powering through thanks to the power of the medics, getting some kills still, somehow not dead yet. But up, and now he goes, and the medics are going to go ahead and try to retreat. However, they're just going to run back to this larger army that is en route. And going to go ahead and push the Protoss back. Now they could take out this natural base here if they don't wander up the ramp into the range of the cannons, but they very well might. We do have High Templar out on the field now. Looks like we are getting EMP shockwaves, so we'll be able to drain the power of those Templar. I'm not sure if Storm is researched yet. I don't believe it is. It is a pretty expensive, gas expensive tech to get. And now the natural has fallen. Marines managing to stay out of the range of the cannons, but the Dragoon's able to put some work in, taking some of these units out. Meanwhile, Egbert is expanding to the center of the map, dealing with a Dark Templar. But gonna go ahead and push up this ramp, losing another Marine to a cannon, losing to Dark Templar, or units to Dark Templar. It looks like running out of scans, potentially. But it does have the capability of producing science vessels if it wants to bring them along in this fight. So the Marine medic force really doing some work here. Madam XP just having thrown away its large army and just not quite able to get a large enough army to push back. Especially having taken the middle only first, didn't really get a good buildup of gas to be able to pump these units. It is getting a scout, which is probably not going to be too effective against Marines and medics, I would assume. Now we are getting a science vessel, which will help against the Dark Templar. Actually, there is one out on the field that has now joined the army, but I don't know. I think it's going to take getting either just a large force with Madam XP running out of minerals, or it might take getting tanks to push into this natural. But those cannons are probably going to present a bit of a problem for a little bit here. Taking one down, taking another one down, doing some damage, slowly chipping away. Looks like we've got more Corsair coming in to try and take out the science vessels. We're still getting High Templar without having Storm, it looks like. Nice targeting of the High Templar there to take it out before it could Storm. If Madam XP did have Storms right now, they would definitely help against these Marines. But going ahead and taking out the probes at the mineral only. Just streaming in units like it's a Zerg player. Nice pack of medics just waiting here for the next wave of Marines to come in. They come in, we got scans down even though there's science vessels floating up above. And it looks like it's only a matter of time. Meanwhile, behind this, Egbert is expanding again. We've only got a High Templar under construction right now, which again, you don't have Storm yet. I don't know why it's getting High Templar and not making Archons. What do we have down here? Oh, we've got a couple of SCVs dropped at an island base, but maybe having trouble because there's two of them there. So that would have been really cool to see, because that's something we don't see a lot in bot play, is the island bases being taken. But it looks like in the end, Egbert is able to take advantage of Madam XP throwing his army away up against his own army, but not actually fighting it. So, and being able to take the win from that. So, nice play by both of them. Just a mistake by Madam XP, and Egbert able to capitalize on it. Will bring us to the conclusion of our final game today. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in this time and all of the casts in which you tune in. And we hope to see you again next week. Stay safe, everyone.